we're going to be working on putting together our reverse input drum. This is a brand new drum because the old one was no good. This one already comes with bushings pre-installed, so I am not going to take those out and put in the new bushings I have, just because, well, this is already done and they're new. So we're going to set this off to the side, and we're going to look at this part here, which I will say right off the bat, before I clean this up, we had sharp edges down here and a little bit in here. So I just took a little bit of sandpaper, which right here's that piece, and I just knocked those burrs down. I didn't want to remove material, just get rid of the burrs. So that way this piece is pretty smooth, and that's just to prevent any lip seal damage. So on yours, you might want to check this edge and this inside edge. But this is going to be one of the few times we have to install lip seals, which this will be the inner here. And for your orientation, if you look at the back side here, you'll notice has this little like umbrella that's going to face down, so it'll go just like that. Remember, little umbrella faces down, just like that in the assembly. This one here, it'll be the same way. You look at the back side, you have this little umbrella right here that's going to face down, and that's what makes the lip seals kind of hard. But I'm going to show you, you don't need a lip seal tool to do this. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to lube up our seals, which I might have to get more fluid in here shortly. And you can never use too much transmission fluid when you're putting these together. Now we'll do our outer, same thing. Just go in the fluid, spin her around. Don't worry about making a mess. All I'm doing there, I'm just pressing that in, make sure it's in the groove. You can see we don't have any twist binds. You do not want to twist or bind any of these seals up. So, set that out. Put this off to the side. Now, where this is going to sit, we're going to ride over this hub with the inner seal, and then our outer seal is going to be right in here in the drum. So what we're going to do is just take a little Vaseline, petroleum jelly, and we're just going to lube the snot out of this. And this is really one of those things you can't be afraid to use any type of lubrication you can get. We just want to make sure we do not tear any of these seals. And don't be afraid to go heavy-handed. This petroleum jelly, it's going to dissolve anyways in the transmission fluid. So any excess, it'll dissolve and it'll be like butter. And now we're going to lube up our lip seals here. And then if you want to make like some Transgo jelly basically at home, you can just take Vaseline, mix it up and make a basically like medium viscosity trans jelly, just automatic transmission fluid mixed with Vaseline, petroleum jelly, whatever you want to call it. You just mix it up like that, you will be golden. And you should probably be using gloves for this, but I'm not a believer in gloves for some things, so do as I say, not as I do in this case, I guess. So here comes the fun part, trying to get these seals worked in. And lip seals can be a nightmare sometimes, but you don't need a specific lip seal tool. Whip Transmission sells them if you want to get them, and they have the little wire ones. But if you just take a feeler gauge, and in this case, you can see, hopefully that will kind of focus. This is a 6,000 feeler gauge. All you want to do, very light pressure. You're just going to snake that around. And if you've never done one of these, when you take your old one apart, don't be afraid to pop it out quick and give this a test run on your old seals to get a feel for it. And you don't want to force this in. All you're going to do is just kind of work back and forth. And then if you're worried about your feeler gauges being sharp or something, you can burnish or sand the edges so as not to damage these seals. And yeah, these can sometimes be a real headache. There we go. You can see that was quite a struggle, I think 20 some minutes. But if you want to make sure you got a good seal, just pick it up a little bit. Remember, don't pick that up enough that you undo your work, but just enough. So that, and the 6,000 pretty much did all the work. At 4,000s I tried, and 3,000s just to see if maybe if I was moving this around a little bit too much for that 6,000, it didn't work because it wasn't thick enough. But that 6,000s just worked dandy for getting that in. So now we need to put our spring back in, and I'll have to clean my hands quick, then get the snap ring on. And you can see when I compress this spring, I'm actually going a bit past that groove, just to make it a little easier. And this is our homemade snap ring plier just for these type of ordeals. And all we're going to do is just get this fished over and started. Because these will not fully work. And then I'm just going to press that down right in there. And then notice these little tabs sticking up right here. You want your snap ring opening in between those. There's 4 of these tabs on your spring retainer. You want to make sure your snap ring's engaging all these retainers. Once you get that in the groove, you verify it all the way around. Just let off. And just like that, we have the hardest part of this out of the way. Now comes time for our actual frictions and steels. And if you notice, I got these actually in order. So when you take yours apart, keep it in order and the same orientation. It'll make it easier. You won't have to think about it. Then we have brand new altos going in. And somebody's going to say, hey, before you said about pre-soaking these and all that. And I do want to make clarification because, yeah, I kind of misspoke a little bit. I install these dry, but before final assembly, I soak the whole assembly in fluid and just let the frictions and everything soak up the fluid. So everything's a dry install, but after this sub-assembly is done, I'll soak the whole thing before the actual assembly and get fluid pretty much coated everywhere. So let's start with our actual clutch assembly. So you'll have your Belleville plate here. and you'll notice, hopefully that shows up on camera, it's concave or convex depending on how you look at it. But see the way this flares upwards like that? You're going to put that in just like that. You want the center of this poking up, whereas the outer side doing your touching. And then we're just going to start with steel, friction, steel, friction, steel, friction, steel, friction, and your top plate, which I'm going to keep that bevel facing up outside the assembly. So this bevel here, just like so. And I think this one's actually going to be a little tight. We'll find out then when we check this with our feeler gauges. The clearance for this clutch pack should be between 40 and 70 thousandths. And we're just going to check it with feeler gauges. I'm going to shove 40 thousandths set in, and as long as that slides in and seems good on that end, I'll then try to slide a 70 thousandths in, and if that's a no-go, then I know this clearance is good. Just needs to be somewhere in between there, nothing specific. So let's get our snap ring, which should be this big guy, and get him installed. Which feels like we got some pretty decent clearance in there. Might be a smidge too much feel in it. We'll see. And if you're wondering, I'm just kind of tapping that snap ring around. So I just trying to keep it more engaged on the lugs here. So all right, get some feeler gauges out. We'll check this bad boy out, right? So I don't think we're gonna have an issue with the 40 thousandths in here. So I'm just gonna stick two of these guys and slip them in, which, yeah, there's really no fight for that, which that would be 41 actually. So now we'll go to 63 and see how that fares, which, ooh, that's super tight. I can get it in there. So I can barely force that in. So right there, clearance is good. We're above the minimum, but we're below the maximum. So that'll be the reverse input fully assembled.